Okay, good morning everybody. So, I am sick at the moment. I have a bit of a cold. I've kind of had it for the past few days, and then today I think it's definitely, more or less at its worst. So anyways, don't mind my puffy sick face and my voice, but I figured of all the days I would just kind of show you my daily, like vitamin and supplement routine. I might talk a little bit about this later, but I take a lot of pills. I take a lot of not pharmaceutical but natural supplements. It's not because I believe that I need to be, because of my diet or anything like that, but as I'll explain later, I'm kind of in the process of trying to naturally heal my thyroid. Okay, I'm gonna sit now. Anyways, yeah, so I'll talk about that later. But basically, first thing in the morning, I'm just starting with water. And then I work at a natural health food store, so we sell vitamins and supplements. So a lot of these I'm also like trying out for the first time. And yeah, it's just really fun actually to try out new supplements and see how you feel about them. But I start the morning off with this morning Rise and Shine. It's an alkaline electrolyte replenishing drink, so when you wake up, it helps to alkalize your body and and replenish electrolytes. Obviously you can do this by just lemon squeezed or lime squeezed in water. That's a great way to go about it. I don't like the taste of like fresh squeezed lemon in water, and I just put about like almost a full scoop, but not quite, in my water. Anyways, I find that I can drink this a lot easier than I can lemon water, and also I've had like a big issue with lemons just going moldy so fast in the camper. So anyways, this is just kind of nice. So I stir that up, and then I also put in 2 tinctures into the lemon water so that, well, yeah, Rise and Shine drink, so I don't taste them as much. One is Go-To Cola, which is a really great tincture for kind of brain health and calming, improves memory. And then one is Milk Thistle, which is really great for detoxifying your liver, which I feel everyone can use these days as a little liver detox. I try to get like a full milliliter, so this like twice of each. You're supposed to do it kind of on an empty stomach every day, so that's what I do with my morning water. And I'm doing things a little differently today. I have just gotten back from a trip to Vancouver, so same thing with Milk Thistle here. So anyways, I'm feeling really gross and I need to shower, so I'm going to take my lemon drink in with me, go shower, and then come back and do my breakfast, morning supplements, and my not coffee. Okay, so I am all showered and clean now. The warm water obviously helped my nose a bit, so I got some gunk out of there. But anyways, I'm going to show you what I'm having for breakfast. My breakfast today is just some gluten-free bread with honey, almond hazelnut butter, and cinnamon sprinkled on top. That's one of my go-tos. And then I'm also just having some goji berries and golden berries. They're just obviously super high on antioxidants and really delicious. And I have my chicory root coffee. Then for my supplements, these are the morning ones. I'm just taking this mineral complex. I take one of these when I take my Thyroid Care. This Thyroid Care is a kind of herbal natural supplement, which is supposed to help, there are the ingredients in it, but it's supposed to help support thyroid health. Lots of amazing things in here. I am currently taking 3 pills twice a day in here, so that's 6 pills. So I take 3 of these with 1 of these, and then I have a company reached out to me about these Heartbreaker gummies, and these are the only vegetarian or vegan friendly hair, skin, and nail gummy out there on the market. So most times they're little hearts. They're super cute. See, they're little hearts. yeah, but they're basically just to help your hair, skin, and nails. They're super yummy. They're soy-free, cruelty-free, gluten-free. I'll show you the ingredients on here. Vitamin A, C, D, E, B, folic acid, vitamin B12, D, biotin, B5, zinc, iodine. They're really great. You just take 2 a day and they're delicious. So anyways, super rare to find like a vegan gummy. And so I've been taking these. And then I just take extra B12. I get enough B12 in like all of my plant milks and other supplements, but I just top up B12 because you can kind of never have enough, and for my thyroid I just like to keep it high. So this is just a spray, tastes like raspberry, and it's really good. Okay, hello. So it is lunchtime now. It's actually like 2:30 p.m. but I kind of had breakfast late. I am just at the public library now. I've been doing some work, and yeah, so anyways, I'm not super hungry, but honestly, like, fasting when you're sick is really great. I just want to eat. I don't know why. Anyways, I just made myself some gluten-free pasta with like a Thai peanut sauce on top. And then I'm just having some Amy's organic refried beans on top. These are vegan, and I would love to have more vegetables or like have a salad, but I don't really want to go grocery shopping. For my vegetable or green, I'm just having a few dill pickles, baby dill pickles. So yeah, that's kind of what lunch is looking at. But for supplements, I kind of change my lunch supplements a little bit. Sometimes I don't take all of these, sometimes I take a different supplement, but basically I got all of these within the last few weeks of working at the health food store, so I'm kind of like trying them all out. The one that I've really noticed actually and have really enjoyed is this Natural Factors Whole Earth and Sea. It's the marine DHA, so it's got like omega-3s, and it's not from fish, it is from algae, which is where fish get their omegas and DHA from. But basically it's just great for brain health, and I do notice that I just feel kind of like clearer in my head when I take this. So I take this one at lunch, and they're just like clear gel caps. Anyways, so I take one of these. Then I've also been trying out the Pyrrhic Immune 7. This is just a mushroom blend. It's immune support, but basically medicinal mushrooms are just super incredible for you. I've been trying these out kind of more to see if they support my thyroid, but they have sun mushrooms, cordyceps, red reishi, maitake, shiitake, turkey tail, and there's also grapeseed and decaffeinated green tea in these, but they're super tiny little capsules, and it says take 1 to 3 a day. I usually take 2, but yeah, just mushrooms. Then the newest supplement that I got, and I've only taken this once, I think, so I don't really know how I feel about it, but it's just a biocoenzyme B6. But there's also organic, so the things they have in here are really incredible. So there's organic watercress, leaf, grape, pomegranate, strawberry, organic blueberry, raspberry, bilberry, Indian gooseberry, schizandra berry, red orange, organic acai berry. There's turmeric, decaffeinated green tea, ginger, echinacea, oregano, peppermint, spirulina, wild chlorella, red algae, blue algae, and kelp. So there's a lot of really awesome things in here, so trying that out. But basically those are, I'll get them here. These are my lunch supplements, and I'm just going to eat my food, take my supplements, and probably finish some more work in the camper though, because I think I get Wi-Fi in here on my laptop. So yeah. Okay, hi everyone. So it is nighttime, it's dark out, and I did so much work that I didn't really rest at all. So I'm feeling kind of crappy. My partner's picking up soup for dinner, so I'm gonna have soup, But I figured I would just show you my supplements now, and then I won't have to film anything later. So dinner is soup, and then my supplements before bed that I take are just this mineral complex. I take one of these again. Then my Thyroid Care, I take 3 of these, just like you saw this morning. And then before bed, I usually take one capsule of 100 milligrams of 5-HTP. This is kind of like my antidepressant. It basically just kind of helps keep the winter blues away, and makes me a little bit more like emotionally stable, especially when I'm like kind of PMSing like I am right now. I'm a little bit more emotional, so this kind of just helps me have a more positive outlook on things. But basically that is what I take before bed with my food. And yeah, I also take vitamin C, and I have actually been taking vitamin C throughout the day today. I just have some like Jameson's fruit tablets, chewable ones, and yeah, just good for immunity and get a good boost when you need it. Okay, hello everybody. So I figured I would come back. It's been about a week since I filmed my supplement routine, if you will, and anyways, I am finally over my cold, the sickness, and yeah, I am still in my big hoodie and pajama shirt, which I sleep in. So I have actually had a fairly productive morning. I've just been doing some work on my computer and stuff, but then I figured that I wanted to finish this video, obviously, and upload it for you guys. So I wanted to talk a little bit more about my thyroid. So, I don't think I've ever like officially talked about my thyroid and my thyroid health on my channel before, but basically, I don't want to drag this on. I want to summarize it for you guys. Essentially, what I have is hypothyroidism. I have a hypothyroid, meaning my thyroid is underactive or slow. Again, I don't want to get too much into the science behind it in terms of hormones, your TSH, thyroid stimulating hormone, your T3 and your T4. Those are all the hormones that they test when they are testing your thyroid. Basically, my TSH is high, and yeah, it basically means that my thyroid is just not functioning optimally. Now, when I first noticed I was having trouble with my thyroid, I was living in Spain working as an au pair. A lot of the symptoms that I was experiencing, I hit almost all of the symptoms of hypothyroid while I was there, and while I was in Spain, I actually started thinking that I was having thyroid issues. I did not end up having any tests done until I got to the city where I am currently living, and I started to see a naturopath here. I never went to a doctor before. I always had my intuition knowing it was my thyroid, but did not have tests or do anything about it until probably about 1.5 or 2 years after I first started having symptoms. Symptoms of hypothyroid include extreme fatigue, hair loss or hair thinning, sudden weight gain or inability to lose weight, having lower immunity, depression and anxiety, but more specifically depression. Also, if you're female, having a change or loss of your menstrual cycle. Also kind of like paleness, anemia, and sometimes like sudden food intolerances can be the cause but also a symptom. So for me, I pretty much had, I would say, all of those while I was living in Spain. For me, the first real indication was that I lost my period for 7 months. So I did not have a menstrual cycle for 7 months, which is not a good thing. And so I clearly knew that something was wrong because of that. I was extremely fatigued. I was very sick, which is in a few different vlogs of mine from my au pair time. I also put on about 20 pounds, And clearly that was also a lifestyle change. I was going from being a dancer, dancing 6 days a week, over like 3 hours a day, so very intense high exercise, as well as swimming and just being a very active person, to looking after a baby and being inside an apartment all the time and not doing more than like maybe a half an hour walk a day. My diet also changed drastically, so I had a fairly, what I would say, healthy diet before au pairing, and then if you've seen my au pair vlogs, you know my diet consisted of bread, oatmeal, soy milk, and I very rarely had a full meal including vegetables and good protein and not a lot of fruit. So kind of lifestyle combination. Oh, also the stress of the time from au pairing and that whole situation, I believe kind of had an impact in this thyroid problem that I have now. Now, without going like too deep down the rabbit hole, I also believe that having my wisdom teeth removed and being on strong antibiotics for a while, then with the lymphoma and having the PET scan, which is radioactive liquid being put inside your body, radiation is not good for the thyroid. And so I do believe that the antibiotics lowering my gut flora and bacteria and overall immune system, mixed with the radiation from the tests that I had, stress of the time, change in lifestyle, diet, exercise, and all that kind of affected my thyroid. I also put on quite a bit of weight while I was in Spain. I noticed that my hair was kind of thinning and falling out quite a lot. I definitely did have some signs of depression or depressive tendencies, especially while I was au pairing. Stress was high. Although I wouldn't say that I was severely depressed, I've definitely had kind of more depression come off and on since then. And yeah, so basically in terms of my protocol now, I showed the supplement Thyroid Care that I'm taking, and I do take that at a fairly high dose. I don't want to immediately go on to any kind of thyroxine or synthetic thyroid hormones, because I would ideally like to kind of balance this and regain my homeostasis in my body. Hopefully doing this naturally is my goal. But some of the biggest things that I have changed is I've cut all caffeine out of my diet. The reason being, caffeine increases cortisol, which is the stress hormone in your body. And basically, for me, one of the most important things I can do is keep my stress low. Cutting caffeine almost completely. I maybe have a decaf coffee once a month. Then also cutting gluten out completely. I do not have gluten even in small minute forms. And then soy is another big one. This not because of any issues including like xenoestrogens or estrogenic effects. That's not the issue for me. It is the way that it's processed, similar to gluten and processing wheat. There's a lot of GMOs, and just the practices of soy production are not generally the best. I do include tempeh in my diet occasionally, as it is fermented, and that one just has a bit less of an effect on my thyroid. But I keep soy sauce and typically tofu and soy milk, those kind of things, out of my diet. For me, another big symptom, if you will, for my thyroid was actually physically just noticing and seeing my thyroid. So your thyroid will swell. Doctors typically will check your thyroid just during any kind of examination. For me, it is fairly noticeable, and definitely when I lived in Spain, I could tell that my thyroid was probably like 2 or 3 times the size of what it had ever been. I really could notice that it was swollen and there was a difference. And kind of in the beginning, when I was slowly taking gluten out, even with caffeine actually, if I had gluten one day, I would notice my thyroid being enlarged a little bit. And yeah, so right now I would say it's okay. It's not the best that it has been. I just recently read that apparently another way of knowing if you could possibly have a thyroid issue is if you have like a line above and below on your neck, which I do. I always thought maybe it was just because I had, I don't know, like a chubbier neck or something, or just the way I held my head or slept, which that could totally be the reasons why you might have kind of like a line above and below. But yeah, for me, it would be to the point where I couldn't see, like if I strained my chin, I wouldn't be able to see kind of the tendons there. So at the moment, I would say it's kind of in the middle. It's not the best that it's been. I also noticed that stress does affect it. So if I am really stressed or I haven't slept well, then it will be a little bit more kind of swollen than normal. Now for women, it's quite easy to see looking at your menstrual cycle if you do any kind of tracking, especially with temperatures, if your thyroid is happy or not. I, my whole life, have barely had a short menstrual cycle. It's typically 21 to 23 days, which is okay, but it's definitely on the short side. And I've been doing a lot of work to try to get my menstrual cycle back to kind of a healthier point. And I'm happy to say now, just by using herbs and I think just being mindful of it, my cycle is now at 29 to 30 or 28 to 30 days. Regularly, which is really wonderful, and I'm super happy about that. So I definitely know that my thyroid health has improved, especially from the Spain time when I lost my period for 7 months, and then now it's at a healthy kind of range. However, especially looking at hypothyroid, even hyperthyroid, which is an overactive thyroid, which typically is the opposite kind of symptoms, you can kind of have a lot of nervousness or anxiety versus the depression. You typically are lower in weight. Sometimes there's more excessive sweating. And oh, that's another one for hypothyroid. So myself, you definitely have a tendency towards being cold, and sometimes it's just really hard to get your body temperature up. Hence why if you track your menstrual cycle and you take your temperature every day, it's a good way to see how your thyroid is doing just by seeing where your daily basal body temperature is at. But I do have a hard time getting warm, and yeah, I'm just definitely prone to being more cold. But like I was going to say, typically if you are more hypothyroid, definitely some issues regarding fertility are involved, and it can definitely be harder to achieve pregnancy, maintain a pregnancy, and then during the pregnancy you really want to make sure that your body is at a healthy thyroid level, because there can be some neurological issues with the fetus and the child. And apparently there are studies now that kind of into the child's development, there can be more cases of ADHD and other kind of learning and behavioral difficulties if the mother did have a thyroid issue that was unaddressed throughout the pregnancy. To me, being my doula self, obviously for clients, that's like a big thing to make sure. Your doctor should always do like a thyroid test if you do find out you're pregnant, but that's just like another aspect of thyroid health. It just basically, all of our hormones work together, and making sure that everything is balanced can be super challenging, but the thyroid is one that can really throw things out of whack. I am not going to lie, I haven't really wanted to talk a ton about my thyroid, just because for me it's kind of like this, I don't want to say hidden struggle, but it's definitely not something that I always feel like I want to get into the nitty-gritty details about, just because I am young and I would say fairly healthy, and so to deal with something kind of like this is a bit of a bummer. I mean, if we look back at my like previous health history, we know there's a lot of bummers there. Also, I wanted to mention that there are kind of two hypothyroid, I don't want to call them diseases, but illnesses, if you will. You can have kind of just the, I don't want to say normal, but the normal hypothyroid illness, but you can also have Hashimoto's thyroiditis, which is an autoimmune disease, an autoimmune thyroid issue. And for me, I have not Hashimoto's thyroiditis, but I have precursors to it. So in my blood work and with all my tests, my naturopath was able to see that I do have precursors to that autoimmune issue. And if you know anything about autoimmune diseases, basically they're just kind of more difficult. Some people would argue impossible to treat naturally, but I would say just kind of like an added layer of difficulty in the natural healing of this. Basically, I just feel like at this point in my life, my goal is to get this back on track to the best of my ability. Ideally without having to go the route of synthetic thyroid hormones. Along with taking my herbal thyroid supplement, having those dietary changes, trying to manage my stress. Exercise is also another really interesting one. If you do have cortisol related issues, so too high stress, working out can be difficult because one, it can kind of throw you over the top, because exercising and putting your body in this physically active state does increase our cortisol levels, which is a stress hormone. That's just naturally what happens, and in small, minute amounts, that's totally okay and it's healthy. But for me, being able to exercise how I used to, where it would be 4 hours and quite strenuous, is not something that I can do now. Basically what happens is my cortisol just goes too high, and then I have kind of what's like 1 step forward and 2 steps back. I feel good because I exercised and I might be okay that day, but most often what will happen after that is I kind of have this fallback time, where then for the next maybe like 2 to 5 days I have extreme fatigue and exhaustion, and I basically just feel like I can't function. I don't have good recovery, and basically my thyroid is just really unhappy because I push myself too much. So basically physical activity and exercising for me now is definitely a fine balance, and it's totally, I take it with my intuition how I'm feeling. I try to exercise most of the days of the week that I can. I would probably say I like work out 5 times a week. For me, that includes walking on the treadmill or doing the stair climber. Running is something I definitely do not do because it is pretty high impact on the body, and just putting my body in kind of that state of stress is not good, whereas walking is much better just personally for me. And then I do some weight training, but again, nothing too excessive. It's just basically some nice resistance training with light weights, and then stretching. And I'm not a huge yoga person, but I do try to stretch as much as I can. And then of course sleep. I try to get the best sleep that I possibly can, making sure I'm getting 8 hours a night. Honestly, if I do not have 7 or 8 hours of sleep a night, I at this point kind of feel like I can't function. In high school, I used to be able to just get away with like 4 or 5 hours of sleep, and that was fine, but that's not something I can do now. So anyways, I guess that's kind of just a bit of an update on my whole thyroid situation. So if you have any questions or comments, please leave them down below. If there are a lot of questions, I can always do kind of another question and answer Q&A video another time, more about it, about any health things that you might have questions about. I hope this kind of gives a little bit more of an idea to you guys of like what I guess I'm working with right now, and kind of the reason why I take so many supplements, because I know it looks like a lot of pills and all that. But basically my idea is just to flood my body with as much goodness as I possibly can through the foods that I eat, but then also the supplements that I take, just because if I can nourish my body and kind of flood it with all the good stuff, hopefully that will just kind of nudge it in the right direction of healing. So anyways, thank you guys so much for watching this video. Please comment, rate, and subscribe, and I will see you next time. Bye!